Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Johnny Bravo 6, and I'm back with a review of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye, and Adora Milaje fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with Nakia and Everett Ross to forge a new path for their beloved kingdom. And this movie is written and directed by Ryan Coogler. This is going to be another non-scripted review. I just want to talk about this movie. I didn't really feel like sitting down and scripting out a whole review for this. This is a movie I kind of just wanted to get on camera and talk about how I felt during the movie, because this movie made me feel a lot. I'm going to be real with you guys. When the first trailer for Wakanda Forever came out, it made me emotional. So going into this movie, I just knew it was going to really impact me emotionally and just kind of wreck me. And it's safe to say that prediction was correct, because man, this movie really hit me hard. The original Black Panther is easily one of my favorite Marvel movies, and I think it's just one of the best superhero movies ever made. Chadwick Boseman was so incredible as T'Challa. Obviously, there's no replacing him or replicating his greatness. And I think this movie did a really good job of continuing the story in a very natural way. It does something new while honoring Chadwick and the story that came before and just the characters of the universe in general. Everything felt real, everything felt natural. Nothing really felt forced or ham-fisted because of the circumstances or everything that happened. It just felt real, and that really hits you when you're sitting there in a theater watching it. You can tell that everybody that was making this movie was really hit hard by the loss of Chadwick, and this movie does a lot to honor his legacy and honor the character of T'Challa. I mean, you can really feel his presence just looming over the movie, and you know, it does a lot. It really adds a lot of just emotion to the movie that almost makes it really hard to watch at times, just because it's so raw and emotionally intense at times. But it kind of needed to be that way. I mean, you can't lose somebody like Chadwick and not honor him or act like it didn't happen. I'm just very happy that they didn't do it in a cheesy, ham-fisted way. Like it just felt right. And because of that, this movie probably made me cry like 4 different times. I mean, the first 5 minutes of the movie really just set the tone. It's some of the most powerful stuff in the entire MCU. To me, this is objectively by far the best film in the MCU. This movie doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. Obviously, it has some Marvel moments, but this film just really felt very special and personal. It just felt so much more than a sequel to Black Panther and just another entry in the MCU. This really hit different. So for the people that want to go in there and just shove popcorn in their face and watch another crazy Marvel movie, you might leave disappointed, because this is not that at all. This is an extraordinarily well made, more of a slow burn movie. This movie kind of feels like what Eternals was trying to do, but just 500 million times better. Ryan Coogler is the best director to ever work for Marvel, and I don't care what they need to do. Smack my mic. They need to keep him around and make sure that he keeps making movies for them. I mean, ever since Ryan Coogler entered the film industry, he's been one of the best directors just of this generation in general. His filmography is filled with nothing but incredible movies, and this is just another entry into that. I mean, he directed the fuck out of this movie. It's visually maybe the best looking movie in the MCU. I mean, it's just gorgeous to look at. Wakanda looked great in the first movie, but sometimes it looked a little fake and green screeny CGI-ish. But in this movie, it felt a lot more real, a lot more palpable. It felt like a real living, breathing place. And I really like that about this movie. The most impressive thing visually in this movie is all of the underwater scenery. It's just incredible to look at. It's probably the best underwater cinematography I've ever seen. Was fucking Aquaman to shame. And this is a pretty long movie. I think it's almost 3 hours long, and it does not feel anything close to that at all. Even though it's a slow burn, I was always very intrigued and just into the story and into the whole atmosphere of the movie. So it really felt like maybe 2 hours, not almost 3, when I was sitting there in the theater. So the pacing of this film is perfect. And honestly, I think the most important thing about this movie is all of the incredible performances from the cast. I mean, the pain is palpable and Angela Bassett and Letitia Wright's performances. They are absolutely incredible in this movie, both of them. Their performances alone made me emotional a few times. You can tell that this is just a very personal film that just hit home for them. It really feels like there wasn't that much acting involved, and that's what I mean when I say it just feels very authentic. And of course, I can't go without mentioning Denai Guerrera and Winston Duke as Okoye and M'Baku. They were two of my favorite characters from the first Black Panther film. Get to see more of them here, and they're just as incredible as they were and all of their other appearances in the MCU. They're just incredibly fun to watch, and I love them as characters. They're so good. And I think they do interesting things with both of them, but to me, M'Baku really shines, and I think his character is developed in a very nice way. I just love Winston Duke. He's so fucking great. One character I wasn't crazy about in the first movie was Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o, and I think she's actually much better here than she was in the first movie. Her performance was never the issue. I just thought what they gave her in the first movie was kind of whatever to me. She just felt kind of bland. She's not in this movie a lot, but when she's there, I felt like her presence was pretty impactful, and I just liked what she did in the movie. So that was nice to see, because Lupita Nyong'o is just an amazing actress. And I also really love the new additions to the cast as well. I really enjoyed Dominique Thorne as Ironheart. I think she's a very fun character. I really liked her friendship with Shuri. I think Dominique and Letitia have like really nice chemistry together, and they just work well together. It was very fun to watch them both on screen. And even though I feel like I'm probably going to say his name wrong, I got to give a shout out to Tenoch Huerta, who plays Namor. And I think he's one of the best villains in the MCU, if you even want to call him a villain. Well, I guess he is a villain. But he's another one of those villains, kind of like Killmonger, where at their core, they're not a bad person. You very clearly understand their motivations. It's just you wish they would go about it in a better way, less villainous way. I thought he had really great screen presence, and I thought he just did an amazing job. Another one of the major highlights from the first movie for me was the incredible music by Ludwig Göransson. I mean, this guy is one of the best composers working in Hollywood. I mean, Black Panther movies and The Mandalorian have some of the best music I've heard over the past few years from TV or movies. This movie uses a lot of the same themes from the first movie, but just with a more somber touch to them, and I think they sound great, and they really fit the tone of this movie well, and added a lot to certain scenes. And to be honest, I don't really have any flaws with this movie. The only thing I can really think of is, since it's so heavy and emotional, it's not going to be the most rewatchable movie in the MCU by a long shot. It's not really a fun watch like most of the MCU movies. It's definitely on the darker side, and it's very somber, and you just feel that throughout the entire movie. While there's some really cool action and just really hype moments in the movie, I think the ending could have been a little bit more epic. It's not bad by any means. This is really a nitpick. I think some of the scenes preceding the actual end battle were much more fulfilling than the ending battle. Kind of like the first movie, a lot of my favorite scenes aren't action scenes. They're dialogue scenes between characters just talking to each other. Don't get me wrong, I do think there is some really cool action scenes in this movie, but I prefer the more character-driven scenes. Overall, I think we got the best case scenario with Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I couldn't really imagine a movie being much better than the one we got. I think this movie continued the story of the first movie in the most organic way possible, while really expanding on the side characters that were so amazing in the first movie and making them even better, giving us another great villain in the MCU, and of course, honoring the incredible legacy of Chadwick Boseman. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is going to clock in at a 98% on the Bravo barometer. This movie was a lot, man. Oh my god. I never thought an MCU movie could hit me that hard, but god damn. This is going to be a tough one to rank in the future amongst all the other MCU movies, because like I said, this really just feels like it kind of supersedes Marvel into just being this really truly special film. But thank you guys so much for checking out this review video. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, make sure to drop a like on it, subscribe for more reviews, rankings, and reactions. I'm emotionally exhausted. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Take care. Wakanda forever.